All right, we're going to take a look at solving a system of equations using any method. So there's three methods. There is graphing, there's substitution, and there's elimination. Any one of those three methods is always going to work, okay? Personally, graphing is probably the easiest one, but if you need something exact and it's not multiple choice, it's a little bit harder to do because you have to be so exact. Then substitution and elimination depends on the question. So for example, if I look at this question, right, I have y equals -2, and then I have all of this. This is easy just to substitute. Where I see y, I put in -2. So in terms of the x and the y, so I already know y is -2, so I'm going to go ahead and put that one in. And then I just need to find out what the x is, but I can substitute this into the second equation to find that out. So wherever I see y, I'm going to put -2. So writing this down, I'm going to have -x plus 5, and then I see what? A y. So what am I going to put there? -2 equals -20. So all I did is wherever I saw y, I put in -2. So I put that in right there. Okay, draw my river. Now you're solving this equation. So you've got -x, then you got 5 times -2, which is -10, equals -20. Okay, I can take this to the other side. What's that going to become? Plus 10, so that goes away. -x equals, I've got negative meeting positive. What's going to happen? They're going to fight. Who's going to win? Negatives are going to win by how many? By 10. But be careful because this says -x equals -10. So what do I now have to do? I have to multiply, or you could say you have to divide by a -1. So this crosses out, and negative divided by negative is what? Positive. So x is equal to +10. Now you can always check your answers, okay? So if I say x is 10, I put it in here. -10 plus, or actually I can just put it in this line. -10 minus 10. -10 minus 10 is negatives are meeting more negatives. They're going to be more, right? So they're going to give me -20, which is -20. And so I know that that's right. So in that question, substitution worked. What about this question? What would be the best method to do this question? Substitution. Again, why is that? Because they already tell me what x is. They're saying x is -2, so I'm going to put in -2 here. Okay. Now all I'm going to do is substitute. Where I see x, I'm going to put in -2. So over there, I'm just going to plug in -2. So I'm going to have -7, -2 plus 4y equals 2. Draw my river. Negative times a negative is a positive, so that's going to be 14 plus 4y equals 2. Take that 14 to the other side. What happens? Changes to what? -14. That goes away. So I've got 4y equals, and I've got positive meets negative. What's going to happen? They're going to fight. Who wins this fight? Negative wins this fight by how many? 12, because they lose 2 people. And then how do I get y by itself? I divide by 4. So I'm going to get y equals, and a negative divided by a positive, yes, a black I is a negative, so it's going to be -3. And again, you can simply plug this into a calculator to double check. Okay, so again, another easy one. Which method is the best one? Substitution, because I'm just going to substitute. Where I see y, I'm just going to plug in that number 2. So I'm already going to put in my y value is going to be 2 because it says y is equal to 2. And then over here, I'm just plugging it in. So 4x plus 8, and then I see a y, so I'm going to put in a 2, equals 20. All right, so I've got 4x plus 16 equals 20. Take the 16 to the other side. It's going to be -16. That goes away. So I've got 4x equals, positive meets negative. Who wins? Positives do because they have more people, but they win by 4. Divide both sides by 4. You're going to get x is equal to 1. All right, now on this one, I don't have y equals or x equals. So substitution, I can still substitute, but it's gonna be long. I can do elimination, and what I'm looking for in elimination is I'm looking for either this to be the same number but opposite, or this to be the same number but opposite. And in this question, it's easy because I already made it that way, but if it wasn't this way, you could make it that way. So this one is easy because I've already made it that way. So this, the one with the square is the same number, but they're opposite of each other. So now we can do elimination. And what elimination means is we're just going to add, we're going to line it up, and we're going to add everything together. So you've got 6 plus negative 6 is going to be what? 0. So it's going to be 0x. And then negative meets positive. They're going to fight. Who wins? The positive win by 2 because I got more people. So I got positive 2y. And then I got positive meets negative. Who wins? Positive wins by 16 because I have more people. So I've got 2y equals 16. Divide by 2. Y equals 8. Now, once I have y equals 8, so this is one solution, right? So x and then y equals 8. All right, so now you're going to plug this into one of these original equations, but whichever one looks easier, okay? So this does not look easy. It does look easier here. So now we're going to put that one in where I see y, I'm going to put 8. So I'm going to say 6x minus 2, and I see a y, so I'm going to put in an 8, equals 20. So 6x minus 16 equals 20. Take the negative 16 to the other side. What is that going to become? Positive 16. That goes away. So 6x equals 20 plus 16 is 36. Divide by 6. X is equal to 6. So my x is 6. And again, you can check this. You can check this by plugging these two into this like we did before. Okay. Do I have a y equals? I do not. I don't have a y equals or x equals. It's probably easier to do elimination. So elimination, remember, you're looking at the x's. I'm looking for the same number but opposite. That's not there. I look on the y's. There it is. Same number but what? But opposite each other. So I'm going to use that one. And then what I'm going to do is just add them. So I got negatives meeting positives. Positives are going to win by what? 7. So 7x. Positives meeting negatives. They're going to kill each other, so nobody's going to be left there, right? So I can write 0y, but now I'm just going to stop writing it. And then I've got positive meeting positives. That's going to be more positives. So 7x equals 28. Divide both sides by 7. X is equal to 28 divided by 7, which is 4. So that's my x. Now that I know my x, okay, I'm going to plug it into whichever one looks easiest, okay? Whichever one looks easiest. I tend not to want to deal with negatives so much, so I'm going to plug it. But these are bigger numbers. Maybe you don't know your multiplication tables. I don't know. But I'll plug it into the positives because I don't like negatives. So right there. So it's 9, and then I see an x, and x is equal to 4 minus 4y equals 20. 9 times 4, in case you don't know how to do 9 times 4, okay, you take your hands, and you count 1, 2, 3, 4. You put it down. This is your first number, so how many fingers do I have right here wiggling? 3. And this is your second number, all of this side on the right, 6. So 36 minus 4y equals 20. Take this to the other side. It's going to become negative 36. That goes away. So I have negative 4y equals, positives meeting negatives. Who wins? Negatives win by 16. And again, just punch in a calculator. Divide both sides by negative 4. So y equals a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So it's going to be positive 16 divided by 4 is 4. So y is equal to 4 and x is equal to 4. So it goes x and then y, so 4 and then 4. All right, so look, again, I have a y equals, right? I have a y equals. Anytime you have a y equals, what I say the best way to do it is substitution, right? Because you can substitute. So I have y equals, right? So I can put, wherever I see y, take whichever one you want. So I'll take this one. Wherever I see y in the second equation, I'm going to put this in there. So where do I see y in the second equation? Right there. So instead of y, I'm going to put that. So I'm going to have negative 6x plus 6 equals negative 5x plus 4. And now I'm just solving this equation. Now, it doesn't matter which way I move it. I'm going to move this here so that that can become positive. So it's going to be positive 6x. I'm going to move this one here. It's going to become negative 4. So that's gone and that's gone. positives meet negatives. Positive wins by 2 because there are more people. Positive means negative. Positive wins by 1 because there are more people, so 1x. So x equals 2. So now that I have one value, I pick any equation that I want. Any equation that I want here. Okay, which one looks easier? Well, they both have negatives, so I'll pick the smaller number. Wherever I see x, I'm going to put a 2. So I've got y equals -5, and I see x, so I said I'll put 2 in there, plus 4. So y equals -10 plus 4. Negatives meet positives. Negatives are winning by 6. So x value is going to be 2, and y value is going to be -6. You could also have done this by elimination, so I'm going to show you that really, really quickly, okay? Elimination, remember, you're looking at the y's and you're looking at the x's, right? Which ones have the same numbers? So you can see the y's both have 1, 1, right? Therefore, I can say I need them to be opposite of one another. So they're not opposite right now. So what I can do is I can take one of these equations and change all the signs. So I'm going to make that negative. That changes to a positive. That changes to a negative. Now you can see that they're opposite. So now when I add them, this goes away, so it's going to be 0y, or 0, equals, I have -6 plus 5, so it's going to be -x. And then I have 6 minus 4, which is going to be +2. Now, there's nothing on this side because 0y is a 0, right? So take this to the other side, it's going to become positive, so I have x is equal to 2. And now you take that 2 and plug it into the equation, and you still get the same answer. So that's what I'm saying, like, 3 different ways of doing the exact same question. What do you do with this one? Just plug it in. So y equals -4, just plug it in there. So I'm going to get, well, let me go ahead and write it in, -4 here. And then plug it in there, so it's going to be 5x minus 7 times -4 equals 8. So I've got 5x, negative times negative is a positive. 7 times 4 is 28 equals 8. Take the 28 to the other side, becomes -28. So I got 5x equals, positive meets negative. They're going to fight, but negative wins by 20. Divide both sides by 5. X is equal to a negative, because negative and positive is a negative, 4. So x is also -4. Okay. All right. Now, I can. Actually, I'm going to show you one more elimination. Okay. So here's one where the numbers are not the same on both of them. See how the numbers are different? So I still do elimination because that's the easiest one because it's not y equals or x equals, right? I still do elimination. However, I have to make them look the same. So now you have to decide which one to change. Sometimes you have to change both equations. Sometimes you only have to change one. I can see that I'm going to pick the x's, okay? And you can pick any one and make them the same, by the way. I'm going to pick the x's, so I'm going to focus on the x's. I need these numbers to be the same. So right now I have a 2 and I have a -1. What can I do to this 1 to make it 2? I can multiply it by 2, and that will give me 2. So if I take this entire equation on the bottom and I multiply it by 2, what will I get? So I'd get -2x and then plus 8y, because I multiplied 4 times 2, equals -13 times 2 is 26. All right, I'm just going to write the top one on the top equation down, plus 5y equals -13. Now look at my x's. They're the same number, right? So they have to be the same number and opposite. So if this was an opposite, I would also change all of the signs, but I don't need to do that. Okay, same and opposite means they go away. Okay, same and opposite. Same number, but opposite signs. All right, now I can focus on this. So I've got 5 plus 8, which is 13. Negative meets negative, more negative, so -39 divided by 13. Y equals -39 divided by 13 is 3. So y equals -3. Then pick one equation and plug it in. So let's plug it into, it really doesn't matter. I'll plug it into the top one. So I've got 2x plus 5, and then I see a y. So instead of y, I'm going to put what? -3 equals -13. So I've got 2x, and then 5 times 3 is -15 equals -13. Take this to the other side, it's going to be plus 15, so that goes away. It's I have 2x equals, negative meets positive, positives win by 2, divide by 2, x equals 1. Bam. Okay, so a couple of different ways of doing the exact same problem. Now, I'm going to show you how to do this with a calculator, okay? Now, calculator, you're gonna kind of have like a little estimation, but I'm gonna show you anyway because it's gonna be fast. You're going to need, though, in order to put it in the calculator, you must always make this y equals. This is now the work that you need to do for calculator, okay? You must make it y equals. So, let's take the first equation. Negative 9x minus 10y equals negative 18. Okay, now write the second one down. Negative x plus y equals 17. And we're going to make it y equals. So, first thing I need to get rid of is negative 9x because I need y on the left-hand side. So take that to the other side. It's going to be plus 9x, right? So I'm going to have negative 10y equals 9x minus 18. Okay? Divide both sides. Divide everything by what? Negative 10, because that goes away, right? Negative 10, negative 10. So what equals negative 9 over 10x, and the negative and negative is going to become positive, and now I just need to simplify this. What goes into 18 and into 10? And actually, you can put this in the calculator. The calculator will simplify for you. So actually, I'm not going to confuse you with that. I'm just going to leave it as 18 over 10. But if you were asked to rearrange this, you would have to simplify it. So there's one equation. I have to do the same thing here. So take the x to the other side. It's going to be plus x. That goes away. So we'll have y equals x plus 17. That's another equation. Okay. Once you have it y equals, so you have to have it y equals, you're going to come to your calculator. And you see where it says y equals on the top left, you're going to press that. Y equals. If there's something there, just press clear. Okay. And you can press the down arrow if you need to clear somewhere else. So on the first one, we're going to put in the first one. Now, anytime you have a fraction, you need to put it in parentheses. Okay, so I'm going to have parentheses and then negative. So negative, you must make sure that you use negative and not subtraction. So you must hit this one, okay? This one. All right, so negative, and then I have 9 over. Now, over is the same as divide. So 9 over 10. Close your parentheses. So a fraction must be in parentheses. Then you have x. Now, this one is right here. Right underneath mode, it has this x here. So x. And then plus, now I have what? I have a fraction. So I'm going to put that in parentheses. So 18, and how do I say over? Divide by 10. Close your parentheses. So that's your first equation. Okay, then you're going to press enter. When you press enter, it'll come to the second equation. When you come to the second equation, you're just going to put in your second equation. So you have y equals, and then x, so remember this is the x, and then plus 17. Now, those are both equations. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit the word graph. Actually, before you hit the word graph, I'm going to make sure that your calculator is set up right. Hit window. All right, make your calculator say this, negative 10, your minimum value of x is negative 10, maximum is 10, and it goes up in 1. Minimum for y is negative 10, maximum is 10, and goes up in 1. Once your window looks like this, and if you need to change it, you just move the arrows and you type it in. So if I want to change this to 5, I can just, you press clear and then I can change it to 5. So press clear and I want it 10. Then you're going to hit this word here, graph. And it's going to graph you both lines, okay? Now your solution, remember, is where those two lines intersect. So I can see it over here, right? Now depending on where my answer is, I just need, well actually I don't even need to zoom in. See the arrows? Just press the arrows. You'll see this little thing, all right? You see this? I'm controlling it with the arrows, and I'm going to take it as close to that as I can. Now, it's going to be an estimation, but your test is multiple choice, and IXL doesn't give you decimals. Therefore, it's whatever is really close. All right, so I think I'm on it. So it looks like here, and here my x value. Okay, now, to actually calculate this, actually now that I'm thinking about it, you can actually calculate that exact intersection, okay? So if I hit second, so the blue button, second, and then you see above trace, anything in blue is controlled by the blue button. See calculator? You're gonna hit that. And you want intersect. So you can hit the number 5, or you can come down with the arrow and press enter. First curve. Okay, so the first curve, you're gonna make sure it's on a curve. You press enter. Second curve, you need to find the second curve. So this thing needs to go to the second curve over here. So I'm just gonna move it until it's on the second curve. I can't even see it. Okay, see, I moved it, and then here it is. Okay, so I just use this arrow. Apparently when I go all the way up and just keep going this way, it takes me there. So that's the second curve. You just hit it anywhere on the second curve. So I press enter. Okay, and then it says guess. And then you're gonna say yes, guess, press enter again. The intersection is -8 and 9. -8 and 9. So you plug that, you put the answer in there. And you can always check it by plugging it in. -8 and y is 9. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do from now on, because the calculator makes it easy for you. All right, so again, the biggest thing with the calculator, we have to make it what? Y equals, right? So taking the first equation, 7x minus 10y equals -10. Second equation, x plus y equals 18. Now we have to make it y equals, because we can only put it in the calculator as y equals. All right, so take this to the other side, -7x, that's gone. So it's going to be -10y equals -7x plus the 10 that was already there. Oh, a minus, it was a minus, sorry. It's a -10, so -10. Then I don't have y by itself, so I have to divide by what? -10. When I do that, I divide by everything. Everything must be divided by -10. Y equals. Now, actually, I can, well, actually, I don't know if I can leave this here with the negatives. A negative and a negative is going to make what? A positive. But before, I'm going to see if I could just put it in the calculator like this so that you don't have to simplify it. This is the other equation. You can press second, and then this is the word quit. It quits. You can go to y equals and see the previous ones are there. So you press clear, and then you go down and you press clear again. So I'm going to see what happens. So this is a fraction, so I have to do a fraction. I have a -7, right? Make sure you hit negative and not subtraction. So -7 divided by -10, close it, okay, because my fraction is closed. Then I have x, then I have minus, and I will put in that fraction, 10 divided by -10. And I'm just going to hit graph right now so I can see. It does graph it. Oh, so you don't even have to simplify. That's pretty cool. Okay, so you can just put it in just like it is. Go to y equals, and we'll do the second one. So on the second one, we're going to move that to the other side. It's going to be -x. So I'm going to have y equals -x plus 18. So that one's really easy. So now we're going to put that in. So y equals -x. So negative, make sure you're using the negative sign. X, which is right here, plus 18. Then you're going to hit graph. It's going to graph it, whatever, it's up here somewhere, okay? All right, so then I'm going to go second, calculate, to calculate the intersect. I can press the number 5, or I can come down and press enter. Okay, first curve, see it's on this curve right here, press enter. Second curve, you have to use the arrow to go all the way to the top. Where's that thing? See, I'm even going to use the up arrow. Oh, I think it actually goes, when I press up, I think it's up there. But I don't want to make a mistake, so I'm just going to go like this, to the right, to the right, to the right, and then, oh yeah, it does. So when you press the up arrow, it's going to go up to the next curve. That's pretty cool. Press enter, and then says guess, you press enter again, and it's going to guess it for you. The intersection is 10 and 8, and that's what you're going to put here. 10 and 8, so 10 and 8. All right, so once again, to clear what you already have, you can press second quit, or actually you can just hit y equals, and we're just going to change our y equals. So we're going to press clear on the old one, so down arrow clear, going up to the top one, my y1. So I need to make it y equals every single time. All right, so let's go ahead and make it y equals. Take the first equation. So you have 10x minus 7y equals -19, and then you have x minus 4y equals 8. Okay, we're going to make y by itself. So I'm going to take this to the other side. It's going to become negative 10x. That goes away. So I have negative 7y equals negative 10x minus 19. I still don't have y by itself. I need to divide by negative 7. But if I do it to one thing, I do it to everything. So I have y equals this whole thing. Now the cool thing about the calculator is that you do not have to simplify this mess. You can just put it in. The big thing to remember is that you need to put fractions in parentheses. Okay, so I'm going to take my calculator, and I have y equals, and I'm putting this whole thing in the calculator. So I'm going to put parentheses, a negative 10, and how do I say over? Divide by a negative 7. Close the parentheses. So that's the fraction with all the signs. And then I put an x, and then I have to put a symbol here. So I can say, I can just go ahead and put this negative or minus, and then I'm going to put the rest of it in parentheses because it's a fraction. So parentheses 19, and then divided by a negative 7. So there's a difference you see between the minus and the negative. All right, so make sure that you're using negative for negative and minus for minus. All right, close the parentheses, and there's nothing else after that. So that's the first one. Oh, I just cleared it. Oh, my bad. All right, so negative 10 divided by negative 7x minus, and then put that in parentheses, 19 divided by negative 7. Then you press the down arrow, and now you're going to put the second equation. So let's take a look at the second equation and make it y equals. So I'm going to take this to the other side. It's going to be negative x. So I have negative 4y equals negative x plus 8, because that's a positive 8. Divide by negative 4. Divide everything by negative 4, negative 4. So y equals this thing. Now there's an invisible what number over here next to the x? An invisible 1. So it's a negative 1. Okay, that's what you're putting in the calculator. So again, you're going to go y equals, and then you're going to do every fraction in parentheses. So parentheses, and then I have a negative 1. So make sure you go negative, which is a small 1. All right, negative, and then the number 1, divided or over negative 4. So negative and then 4. And then x. So this is x. And then plus, and then that fraction. So I have 8 over negative 4. So open parentheses, 8 divided by negative 4. Close parentheses. Now all you have to do is hit graph. So this is solving equations by graphing. Because remember, when you graph the two equations, wherever they intersect is your solution. All right, so that's where they intersect. To get that exact number, I'm going to hit second, and then calculate. And then you can hit the number 5, it'll do the intersect already, or you can come down to 5 and press enter. So it's going to ask you the first curve. Is that right? You press enter. Look, it actually jumps to the next curve. That's pretty cool. Second curve, you press enter. Guess, enter. So you're just going to press enter 3 times once you do this. Your intersection is negative 4 and negative 3. And that's what you're going to put in. Negative 4 and negative 3. Bam. So your biggest thing when you're using a calculator is making it y equals. Okay, making it y equals. So here's my next equation. I need to make it both of them y equals. So I'm going to write them down. So 4x plus y equals 15. And I have negative 10x plus 5y equals 15. Okay, we're making it y equals. So first equation, move that to the other side. It's going to become negative 4x. That goes away. That's already y equals. Y equals negative 4x plus 15. On this equation, we'll put that to the other side. It's going to become positive 10x. So I have 5y equals 10x positive 15. Divide everything by what? By 5. That crosses out. So y equals this. I don't have to simplify because the calculator is going to do it for me. Okay, so again, you come here, you go y equals. Okay, you're going to clear, go down and clear again, and then go back here, and then you're going to type this in. So y equals, and then negative 4. So I don't have a fraction, so I can just write it in. Negative 4, and then x plus 15. You can press enter, or you can press the down arrow, whichever one you want to do. Then I'm going to put the second one. I have a fraction, so what do I have to do with a fraction? I have to put parentheses. So parentheses, my fraction is 10 over 5. So 10, and then divide is how you put over. Divide over 5. So that's my fraction. My fraction is in parentheses. And then x, and then plus, and then I have a fraction again. So what's the fraction? 15 over 5. So in parentheses, 15 over, which is divide, 5, close parentheses. And then I'm good to what? Graph it. So graph it for me, and wherever the lines intersect is my solution. This is solving equations by graphing. Let's finish graphing, so I'm going to go second, calculate. I'm going to go to intersect, or press the number 5 and it'll take you there. And then just press enter 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And that's my intersection, 2 and 7. So 2 and 7. Enter. Bam. Wow, this is actually kind of easy. Okay. All right, so another example. So again, all you have to do is make it y equals to graph it. You're making it y equals to graph it. So write the equations down. So negative 9x plus y equals negative 17. And you have 4x minus 6y equals 2. And you just need to make it y equals. Once you put it y equals, you can put it in the graphing calculator. So y equals. So here goes the other side. It becomes what? Positive 9x. So you have y equals 9x minus 17. That's already y equals. On this one, take it to that side, negative 4x. So you have negative 6y equals negative 4x, and you have plus 2. Divide everything by what? Negative 6. And I have my y equals already. So you take your calculator, and you go to y equals. Whatever equations are there, you can clear them out, clear, and you press the arrows just to navigate through. Now we're going to punch this in. So there's no fraction, so I'm just going to write it. 9, then x minus 17. Press enter. Okay, second equation, y equals, and then there's a fraction, so I need parentheses. Then I have a negative 4, so remember, this is the negative, right? Negative gives you like a small little negative, different from the minus. Negative 4. Divided by, because that's over, so divided by negative 6, close your parentheses, then you see an x is this one right here, and then you need that sign there, plus, and then you need a parenthesis for the fraction, which is 2 over negative 6. So 2 divided by negative 6, close your parentheses, hit graph. So it's going to graph it for you. Wherever it intersects is your answer. To figure out where it intersects, you're going to press second, calculate, going to go to intersect, because that's what you want, and you're going to press enter 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. And your intersection is 2 and 1. All right, I'll do one more. So again, I have to make it y equals. I have to do y equals. So write the 2 equations down. So every question, you're writing the 2 equations down. And you're making it y equals. So move this to the other side. It's going to be plus 10x. So you have 7y equals 10x plus 9. I need to get y by itself, so divide everything by 7. So there's my y equals. I'm not even going to rewrite it again. All right, on this one, I move this to the other side. It becomes plus 2x. So I'm going to get y equals 2x minus 1. And there's my y equals. So you're going to take your calculator. You're going to hit y equals on the top left. And if there's already things there, you're going to press clear to clear it. Press the down arrow, then clear again. All right, then you're going to punch it in. So y equals fraction. Anytime you have a fraction, you're going to put parentheses around it. So parentheses, my fraction, which is 10, over, which is divide by 7, close my parentheses. Then I have an x, which is this button right here, plus, and then I have another parentheses, because I have fraction, 9 divided by 7. Close my parentheses, and then press enter. Okay, my second equation is y equals, so y equals, and then 2x, so no fractions, so no parentheses, 2, and then x minus 1. And then you're going to hit graph. So it's going to graph it for you. Where they intersect is your solution. To calculate your solution, you're going to go second, and then you see where it says calculate. You're going to hit that. And then you're going to come down to intersect, because that's what you're looking for. And you're going to press enter on the first curve, enter on the second curve, and guess enter. Your intersection is 4 and 7. Okay, I know I said I would only do one more, but I'm going to do one more. So first thing is always to write y equals. Y equals. So you write the two equations down. Here's your first step. Then you write your second equation down. And you're going to make them look like y equals. So, river, move this to the other side. It's going to be negative 2x. That goes away. So you have negative 5y equals negative 2x minus 15. Divide everything by negative 5. And there's your y equals. Same thing on this side. Take the x to the other side, so it's negative x. So you have 6y equals negative x plus 1. Divide everything by what? By 6. There's your y equals. Now, just remember, what's the number in front of the x? An invisible one. So I'm going to put that in there because when I put it in the calculator, I'll need it. All right, so I'm going to go y equals. So y equals, if there's clear, down arrow, clear. So y equals, I have a fraction, so I'm going to put a parentheses, negative 2, make sure you use the small negative at the bottom right, divided by negative 5, close the parenthesis, then the x, so that's the x right there, minus, and then I have another fraction, which is 15 over negative 5, so parentheses, 15 divided by negative 5, close your parentheses, press enter. That's my first one. Putting in my second one, I have y equals, so y equals, parentheses, because I have a fraction, negative 1 divided by 6, close the parentheses, then I have an x, so that's x, plus, and then I have a fraction of 1 over 6, so parentheses, 1 divided by 6, close your. Graph it, it's going to graph it for you. When it finishes graphing it for you, where they intersect is your solution, so to find that, you're going to hit second, and calculate, because you wanted to calculate, your intersect, which is, you can hit the number 5 or you can come down and press enter. First curve, enter. Second curve, enter. Guess, enter. And it's going to tell you your intersection is negative 5 and 1. And that's pretty much it.